And now, Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blanken. Tyler, just you and I this week. Spring break is over, effectively, by the time this episode drops. How you doing?
We back. I'm doing well. I'm grateful, man. The spring break, I was telling you before we recorded, I knew it was going to go by quickly, and it went by even faster than I expected, which makes me sad, but I feel grateful regardless. It is awesome to see you. My goodness, Brad Winchester, this episode of Gimmick Infringement right here, we are discussing WWE headlines. Of course, WrestleMania is about a month away, less than a month away at this point. There's some news in AEW that I want to ask you about. And then also from a pop culture standpoint, The Bachelorette. I don't even think this is a case of it was good until it wasn't. Season 22 was just not happening. ABC did not respect our preview a couple weeks ago. Taylor Frankie Paul is a main character of our episode here. We will talk about the fallout of ABC canceling The Bachelorette and the future question mark of the franchise question mark. We shall see. Cesar Chavez, the New York Times investigation, the fallout from that. Brad, I'm eager to hear your thoughts on all of that and then some. I'm happy to see you, even though spring break is in fact over. How you been? How was your week off?
It was really good. It was very restful. I don't know that I'm rested, but it was restful. You know, it's the time for doctor appointments, and in my case, car doctor appointments, and getting my tires changed, and going to the ENT. Totally 5-minute appointment. It was one of those things where it was like, I went in, here's what I got going on. Oh, just keep an eye on it. Out I went. That's it. That was the whole thing. And I went, all right, well, cool. It's a 35-minute drive to have a 4-minute appointment that cost $75, and I was in and out. Because the copays have gone up. I almost had a promo on copays.
I don't know. Oh, no. I would be seated for that. Keep an eye on it is always interesting advice. I don't know if it's welcome advice. Keep an eye on it. Like I could have just got that from just doing my own Google search. Keep an eye on it. No, I want your expert. I won't cut a promo. This is your story to tell, not mine.
No. I'm with you. I'm here because I did my own research, and what I got was subcutaneous cyst. Totally harmless, happens. Gonna die in a month. Like, that's what I got from the internet. And you're all in here with keep an eye on it. Huh? You keep an eye on it. That's why I'm here. I want your eye on it. I want both of your eyes on it if they work. Like, put them on it and then tell me if I need to have that thing removed or not. Like, what are we doing here?
I'm with you 1000%. Not just saying that. I am so aligned with you on this one.
I went to a doctor. This is years ago, man. Like years and years and years ago, when the doctor told me I had a fatty liver, and we did a blood test, and he was like, "Well, your liver enzyme's high. We'll have to keep an eye on it." And I said, "So it's been high every blood test I've had for the last 8 years. It's been the same one is high." Really? Oh. Okay, so we have to get you to a gastro, and then sent me in. They're like, "Oh yeah, I have a fatty liver." They did ultrasounds and all that stuff on my guts, and then they were like, "So you're fat." The keep an eye on it, Tyler, was I'm fat. Like, all they had to do was go like, I'm fat. It's confirmed. Look at your liver. That's how fat you are. Go lose some weight. Lost some weight. Been fine. But pretty simple, but keep an eye on it. It's like 8 years of keeping an eye on it. And they finally were like, hey, by the way.
And listen, don't get it twisted. To our audience, we love and adore and respect our medical professionals out there. Maybe that's someone listening to us or watching us right now, Brad. But let's keep an eye on it. You got to give me more than that. I also think it depends on your relationship with your doctor as well. If you have a strong relationship, maybe you could even like joke about that low key. But if I don't know you that well, quick appointment Jones, copay City.
Yeah.
I may leave the facility feeling a way about that.
The worst part is that they didn't make a follow-up appointment. They were like, maybe annual. And then I left. I was like, do I need to make an appointment? And they go, no. So I was like, wait a second. We're not even keeping an eye on it? Do you just mean me? Like,
Is your doctor Orange Cassidy? What's going on here? This is
it was
given
crazy.
laissez-faire.
It was crazy. So I went,
It'll
I
be
don't
it'll
know about this.
it'll all be okay. Perhaps.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be
Yeah.
fine.
It will. It will. No, it will. Absolutely.
Fine. WebMD exists, so I guess I can just keep looking it up and
Keep-
going like, oh man, this headache hasn't gone away. Oh, it's a brain tumor. Yeah.
WebMD, man. You
Yeah, it's
know
real.
it's a dangerous game we play on the internet.
Yeah, it's awful. And keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it might be the worst bit of advice, but we are going to keep an eye on it. And I know you keep an eye on it every time we can. A watchful eye, if you might say. It's time for the two most important words in GI.
Steph Watch.
That's right. We back. Okay, our WWE Women's World Champion Stephanie Vaquer defeated Raquel Rodriguez on last week's episode of Raw. I know you saw this. So, yeah, this is all in service of building toward Vaquer's match with Liv Morgan at April's WrestleMania. I really enjoy Raquel Rodriguez's work. I think she's in a really strong position on the roster right now. She gets consistent TV time weekly. She's a strong worker. Just feel like I've seen this match or these two mixing it up several times within the last, say, 5 to 6 months. Outcome, not surprising here. The right outcome, of course. And I'm excited about what could be in store for La Primera for the rest of this year, as I believe she has in no way reached her peak at the company yet. Brad, sometimes there will be talent from NXT who cross over, if you will, to Raw or SmackDown, and they just have a really hot first year or so on the main roster, and it's giving, okay, I don't know how this is going to be top. This is really good. I'm even thinking of like a Kevin Owens, for example, when he crossed over, had the feud with John Cena, won the U.S. title, and it was like, okay, this is big time. And then come to find out, he would even exceed that in the years to come. That's the closest comp I could give for where Stephanie Vaquer is at. We have already litigated what we think is going to happen at WrestleMania during the match with Liv Morgan. We believe Steph is going to drop that title. So my mind now is squarely on this summer and into the fall. How does the booking, how does the creative, what do the storylines look like for one La Primera, for Stephanie Vaquer? I hope it is nothing but greatness ahead. You brought up a wonderful point. Maybe she takes some time off because, my goodness, she has been a workhorse for the company since she debuted on the main roster. I still remember that Money in the Bank weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't she work like 3 shows?
Yeah. The AAA one. And
with like a 72-hour period, if that. I mean, it was so impressive. I believe that momentum can continue for her for the rest of 2026. I just am treading lightly because I believe Liv Morgan leaves Vegas as champ. I don't think that's a bad thing, but I just continue to want Stephanie Vaquer in a prominent position. If she takes time off, that's awesome for her. If she sticks with it, again, hopefully there's a program leading to this Money in the Bank that is worthy of her brilliance, if you will. I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add there. I do feel a way about the matches being set that way, and I think you're right. They do run it back quite a bit. I know it's like a Judgment Day thing, but also doesn't feel like a Judgment Day thing. It feels like classic WWE booking thing. I'm just saying, if she's always fighting a Rodriguez or a Perez, I don't like that. I just wanted to throw that out there.
No, like, I knew that's where you're going. No, I nope.
Like we're a couple of months away from somebody riding out on a lawnmower again, and
the Mexicools.
Oh,
I remember playing with them on SmackDown versus Raw, circa 2005. There's 20 years later. What a bad look. There is no way
so bad
that would be okay now, and it wasn't okay back then. But yet,
no,
I had a good time on my PlayStation 2.
Of course. That's the fifth set, right? Yeah,
Yeah. That's right. And speaking of talented people in WWE, Brad, or affiliated with WWE, a few quick community shouts. Number one, happy belated birthday to independent wrestling star, Arizona's own, newly minted WWE ID talent, Fallyn Gray. What incredible news. Former guest of GI as well. I am so excited. I can't wait to see her appear on a forthcoming edition of WWE Evolve. Brad, what was your instant reaction when you saw this news over the weekend?
I popped up and jumped up and down a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Slowly. I'm in a lot of pain for no reason. But I did jump up and down. It was really cool. And then getting the news that she looks like she'll be going by the ring name Veronica Haven in WWE, which is really cool. I have it in my notes for today to address this. So I'm glad you brought it up right away. Just super proud of her, and this is really cool. So what a cool opportunity. And I can't think of a lot of talent that have gotten there so quickly. I mean, she's still brand new to the business. She's only been wrestling for like under 2 years, I think, or just over 2 years. I can't remember the timeline now, but it's wild how fast her career is younger than this here podcast, and this podcast isn't all that old, and it's just incredible. It's really, really, really incredible. Super proud of her and hopeful for her future, and I hope they see what we see.
Well said. Final two shouts. George Romero, speaking of previous guests, actually, the most recent guest on GI. Shout out to George. I did not include his Ryan Gosling picks from a couple episodes ago. His favorite Ryan Gosling movies are The Nice Guys and Crazy Stupid Love. Shout out to George. Crazy Stupid Love is one of my favorite rom-coms ever. Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, Arizona's own Emma Stone. Love George for that. And then finally, this is a tease for later in the episode. One more batch reference before the end of the podcast. Our very own 19 Media's own Mo, the Mojo King. He commented on our Instagram post, hyping up this episode. And Mo said, and I quote, "Ty's got some explaining to do. This is a must-watch episode of the podcast." Thank you, Mo. We sure hope it is must-watch. There's a lot to get into. And rest assured, I will have some explanations about the Bachelorette later in the podcast. But Brad, before then, WWE, the road to WrestleMania, it's here. We are driving down that road. Speaking of Raw happenings, very excited about this. Femi accepted Brock Lesnar's open challenge for WrestleMania. The best way I can describe my thoughts on this segment that opened last week's Monday Night Raw is by using a word that I never have on GI. This is a first-time edition. I would describe this segment, Oba and Brock, as orgasmic. The entrance, the fall from grace powerbomb, the shock of it all, the aura that Oba displayed, all of it. It was orgasmic. I don't remember feeling as overjoyed for a segment on Raw, or for a segment in wrestling, as I did when this happened. I think the closest comp I have is maybe CM Punk, the first dance. Oh. I mean, this was a moment for me. Here's my question for you. What are your thoughts now that this match has been made official? And what shot do you give Femi of actually slaying the beast at the Showcase of Immortals?
It depends on WWE Creative and how much they like the idea of Brock constantly beating black stars. If they're into that and they think it's funny, then I give them 0% chance. If they're all about building Femi into a monster, he's going to win. Brock seems to be on board with stuff, but I also know, like, just Femi is probably an unbelievably strong human being, but I also like the way he picked up Brock compared to the way Brock picks people up. Brock is 8,000 times stronger than everybody in that building. That dude is, I don't know, conjured from the depths of wherever. I don't want to say hell, but he's not from the earth. I don't know what else to say. I hope that everybody's on board, because I think when you put him in the ring, Brock's got, he's got a job to do, but he strikes me as an Andre, where if he's not willing to do it, he's not gonna. And that if he is willing to do it, he's the best person in the world to be in the ring with. As long as everybody's on board, I think that Femi is going to win. I give him a good chance. Now, my question for you, before I get into my actual question, is when it was orgasmic, did you hit that word like Matt Hardy?
Sure did.
Okay. I just needed to know if you had the vibrato going. The high pitch.
For at least 24 hours, I was in euphoria. I was in a euphoric state. because I
I
did
knew
not
you
see
would
this.
be as soon as the music hit.
The music, and then not just
The
that, it
lights.
was the face off, but the fall from grace power bomb, and then Oba has the foot over Brock and points to the WrestleMania sign. I will confess to you, Brad, right about Wednesday morning, 8 a.m. Let's the TMI. I don't know why this matters. Wednesday morning, when the euphoric state that I was in wore off, I thought to myself, wait, that was so awesome and such a definitive statement from Oba. What are the chances that Brock actually? I mean, I think Brock's gonna get his get back before Mania, but what are the chances Brock actually beats the ruler? He puts down Oba at WrestleMania, and I thought, you know what? Hopefully this isn't a cop out for the podcast, but it feels like it's a 50-50 situation for me.
Yeah.
I wish I could come on here with confidence, with my chest puffed out, and say I got Oba at least 60-40 to win. But to your point, knowing the history of how Brock Lesnar's been booked, truly a one-of-one talent in the history of WWE. I mean, Brock is just Brock, right? And he's been a priority for the company for 2+ decades at this point. I just wonder if there's a world in which Brock Lesnar beats Oba at Mania, then maybe they run it back at SummerSlam. It kind of feels like that's Gunther's match. So Gunther can officially retire Brock in his home state. At least that's what the timeline seems to think is going to happen.
I don't know that Brock is retiring anytime soon. He still looks great.
I want... This started out so great. I want the end of this to make me feel the same way when they match up at Mania. I'm just glad that we're getting the match. I think it was the only way for both of these guys, frankly. It was the perfect opponent for each of these two.
Yep.
We don't know if it's night 1 or night 2 yet as of this recording, but I think it's 50-50 right now. It's a toss-up, which perhaps is what Paul Levesque and the creative team want is, given the aura, given the legend of Brock Lesnar, even though Oba beat him up on Monday, we're not going to go into Mania just assuming Oba's going to win this, because we've seen example after example where it hasn't worked out for Brock's opponent. As you alluded to, we still are bearing the scars of the Kofi Kingston match on SmackDown during the Fox debut. Brock defeating Big E in a 5-way match at day 1. Brock pinned Big E. Brock could have pinned anyone else in that match and became champ, but he specifically pinned Big E, I should say. I still have scars, Brad. I'm working on this. God is still working on me. And hopefully the man above is looking out for us, because we need Oba Femi to win at Mania. If he does not win, I'm going to be a wreck. I really am. And that's not good for me. I'm a grown man, a grown single man who gets in his feelings about wrestling. It's not good for me. I don't want that to happen next month, but I'm Team Oba all the way.
You heard him, ladies. He's single. Don't let this go. This is your chance. He's going to be a mess.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Combat sports soap opera doesn't go the way that he wants.
I'm trying. Well, and then okay.
And then the Bachelorette gets canceled.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. We will get into that. Can we just be real for a moment too, Brad? I caught some of Oba's appearance on the Stephanie McMahon What's Your Story podcast. That's how much of a supporter of Oba I am, that I'm willing to check out the Stephanie McMahon podcast.
What were your thoughts about his inspiration?
Yeah, so maybe we're referring to the same thing here. I caught maybe the first 10 minutes.
I'm sure we are.
And then I had to do something else. But then the timeline showed a clip that was, I saw Oba teaching Stephanie the strut. That was entertaining. But then I saw a very disturbing clip in which, I don't even know if I watched the clip. I just trusted the caption, which Oba Femi said, you got to believe in yourself, full confidence. You want to be someone who can change the world. Okay. I'm right with you, my brother. But then he cited Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, and somebody else as sources of inspiration or examples of people who changed the world. My brother in Christ, come on, man. You have all this goodwill right now. Please don't. I'm willing to overlook that podcast appearance, Brad. But I still want Oba to win at WrestleMania. He has to win. I'm sure we will talk about this before the weekend of April 18th.
I'll say this in defense. In terms of looking at them as people who bet on themselves and became successful, great sources of inspiration. In terms of people, Tyler, my question for you, I have a lead up to it. So we had Ilya and Carmelo continue to have unbelievable chemistry and are probably some of the best matches in WWE right now. Danhausen continues to do amazing work, exactly where he should be doing the amazing work. I pop huge, just an aside, for the backstage with the Bella twins, calling him the clones, or calling them clones. Ah, Bella clones. Like there's something about that.
Yeah, it's funny when he does it. It's just yes. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for him.
It's so good.
And the fact that
you cursed us, we lost. It's like, I didn't curse you. Nobody paid me. And then they took the hat. He's like, hey, that hat is expensive. I took it. Like, all of it is just so stupid.
The backstage spot with the Bella Twins was great. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for Danhausen that he was able to rebound and recover from that Elimination Chamber debut so quickly. I don't even think really about that debut anymore. That's how quickly they and he were able to turn this around. It's awesome. Yeah, shout out to the Bella Twins, of course. Always speaking of giving shouts to Arizona Stars.
I think they're using them exactly the way I'd hoped. I would talk more about it, but I haven't gotten to my question. So I did want to talk about Uncle Randall, and I really wanted to talk about Randy, about how he's going full Viper, and his explanation was great. And they're not going to get the crowd to turn. They're just not. Like, they gave people what they wanted in heel Randy. They got that. Why would you boo the thing you want? Like, why would anybody go, like, now we're going to boo this thing we wanted? It's not going to work out for Cody at all. Cody's going to come in like a hero, and he's going to get booed now. So I'm excited to see Cody get booed at Mania and Randy get cheered for being an awful, awful human being. It's going to be great.
We were in a similar situation a year ago with the Cody Rhodes versus John Cena match.
Yep. Same exact stuff.
Very similar predicament. WWE figured it out. It was a brutal summer, but by SummerSlam,
they figured out Cena. They didn't figure out Cody. We were excited to get old Cena back, not to get Cody this. Like, I think the Cody shine is sort of dulled. It's not like he's not beloved, but we want something different from Cody, and we're not getting it. And it's just more of Cody being Cody, the same Cody over and over and over again. And then you get a little bit of an edge, and then it goes away. I think people are ready for something different, and this would be a good opportunity for them to have something different if they're going to try it out. Because you can always flip it as soon as the match is over. But I don't know. See what happens if he's just evil. I don't know. Just throwing that out there, but I want to talk about Michin. So Michin joined forces with Jade Cargill, turning on Rhea, blooding her in the ring, leaving her broken body, her corpse splayed out for all to see. It was a cool shot. And then Rhea going online to have words with the IWC, which I did want to bring up, but people commenting on her look and her body and all these different things, it's got to be just awful and exhausting. However, Tyler, my question is really simple and straightforward. With Michin, what do you think about the pairing with Jade and her overall creative in the last, year?
I love the former. I love the decision to align her with Jade, because now that she's lost to Jade, what would you do with Michin after that? In some ways, it reminds me of Chelsea Green and once she acquired the Secret Hervis, Piper Niven, Alba Fire. Not exactly a one-to-one comparison, but just the idea that maybe the move is aligning this valued veteran in the locker room with the champion. I think it's been great for Piper Niven and Alba Fire, and I'm hoping the same for BFAB and Michin. So I love that. I love that this will once more give her consistent, interesting programming. Yes, she's probably going to eat some pins for Jade, or many pins over the next few months, but I would argue that's better than what the alternative would be, which was maybe Michin popping up on main event, maybe a dark match here, a dark match there, maybe an occasional SmackDown multi-person match. I love this. It also reminds me of when Jade was TBS champ in AEW, and she had the baddies with her. She had, gosh, this is going back in the vault. Kiera
I
Hogan.
was gonna say Kira Hogan. Was it
It-
Layla?
Layla Gray.
Yeah.
Yes. Is there just one number? No, I think that was it. Yeah. Yeah.
No, she
So-
beefed with Red Velvet all the time. But I thought,
Yes, exactly. That's where my
yeah, I was like, is she a baddie? No, she
Red
was a
Velvet?
foe.
No.
No, they were just
She was
Yeah.
absolutely a foe. Jade being the leader of a group, yes, and yes. For Michin, I love it. For BFAB as well. BFAB has kind of been on the precipice of breaking out. She's had some really strong promos. She's had some quality in ring moments. I just think this pairing makes sense for all three parties. And I already forgot the second part of your question. I know you mentioned Rhea and
I was just saying a bunch of words. The second part was just her creative over the last year.
Oh yeah. That's right. For Michin in particular. Yeah, it hasn't been terrible. I mean, Michin has had some featured matches and has had some rivalries. Even thinking about that aforementioned Chelsea Green, I remember that this may be over a year ago, but that Saturday night's main event match to crown the inaugural U.S. title, or U.S. champion, I should say, was really pulling for Michin there. Didn't work out, but she's been, I don't want to say she's been around. She's been highlighted.
March 7th of last
wow.
year. Yeah.
Wow. Just past the 1 year.
Yeah.
Jeez, it feels like it was longer. So it's been okay. I'm glad that she's gotten some shine. Has it been consistently what I would want for a talent like Michin? No, but I'm hoping that aligning forces with Jade is going to be that next phase in her creative that we've been hoping for. Also, this gives me some reassurance that Jade is beating Rhea at Mania, and then this new trio will be shot callers on SmackDown over the entire summer and run roughshod. So I think this has legs. I think it has a lot of longevity. And to your point, Brad, it's never not startling when fans attack, specifically thinking on the timeline with their Twitter fingers, attack performers, and namely women who are on the roster for their looks, for X, Y, and Z. It's despicable, and it seems like more members of the roster are being completely transparent and vulnerable with how it affects them. And hey, we see this, we hear this, it's not okay. I saw Elena Black tweeted over the weekend about fans still showing up at hotels.
Yeah.
Thea Hale, Elena Black of TNA fame, Thea Hale of NXT also put out a video about a week or so ago, a really vulnerable video where she was emotional and sharing that she sees those comments about her appearance and what have you. And now Rhea, one of the biggest faces in the company, either gender, also being transparent about that. It's unfortunately there continues to be a segment of the wrestling fan population that is I don't want to say toxic because I think of Kit Wilson, but is just displaying this unacceptable behavior. And it's weird, man. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's always a good reminder. These are people portraying characters and act right. Come on now. What are we doing? So anyway, I did notice that as well. And I appreciate you shouting it out because it's unfortunate that talent, particularly women, still have to spend their time reminding people what is appropriate and what is not.
You said toxic. I thought of Tekla.
It's Kit Wilson, Tekla. It's everywhere.
The
toxicity is everywhere.
Yeah, the online stuff, especially because there's that de-individuation, that anonymity that comes with being on the internet.
100%.
I think I want to say it's like people are doing that because they feel like they can get away with it. Tyler, when we went to see Gray up at Bull Shooters, up in your neck of the woods, I think about it quite a bit now, and I don't know how people don't like how many dads are going to their live wrestling events of the women talent, the female talent that are on the roster. Are there dads in the arena? Because if I were there to see Freya, and the guy over to our right yelling just awful stuff, and catcalling and whistling, I would go to prison so fast. Like so fast for just beating the ever living crap out of somebody, about talking about my daughter, my family member that way. And it's all I could think of when we were out there watching people. I'm not saying that like this person was calling out anyone in particular, because it was like everybody, and even the crowd started turning on him It was great heel work by this guy. I'm sure alcohol was involved, but my goodness, man, I wish I could remember her name. There was the woman that came. I think she was billed out of New Mexico that turned around and just eviscerated that dude. She was one of the opening female talent from that show. Big fan of her. Can't remember her name. Big fan of her. I know her if I saw her because I was like, oh yeah,
I remember that well. Two things I'm thinking of. Number one, speaking of Fallen Gray and speaking of Arizona Wrestling Federation, they have a big show.
Yes,
this
I
weekend.
saw.
Aftershock it's called Aftershock. It's back at Bullshooters. Fallen Gray versus Brittany Brooks. The grudge match, the grudge rivalry.
Man, I
of
really want to get
AWF
up there too.
continues. That I don't know where it's going to be slotted on the card, but that is for sure the people's main event. Brad, I agree with you here. I'm so glad you brought this up because the second point, and you alluded to this, we know that those remarks, sadly, it's not a surprise when they happen. What I am always invested in or intrigued by is how does the crowd react? As you said, do we hold people accountable, or is it just it was said and let's continue on? It's just a show. Right, the problematic boys will be boys. To your point, I'm glad that at least in our most recent experience, we saw people hold this person accountable. And shout out to that performer. I wish I remembered her name too, for clapping back at him. I love that we live in a time where not only are we getting better at consistently checking each other, but also that talent can just hit them back with, oh, you. Listen, I can hear you, and also I'm going to respond to you right now. Yes, this is a show. Yes, I'm a character, but there's just this with wrestling, I guess with a lot of entertainment, but especially wrestling, there's this fan code of conduct where, yeah, everything we're seeing is kayfabe, but also fans are a part of the show, ostensibly, but not to the point where you should be talking sideways.
It's not permission.
Talent.
Yeah, it's not permission to say whatever you want.
It's this code of it's this, and I've been to AEW shows more recently, as have you. I'm not sure how WWE couches this, but I know AEW, before the show begins, they have the audio and on the screen, visibly, the rules, the code of conduct, listing out what is expected and what is not okay. That doesn't mean fans follow it perfectly. Some fans really ride the line on it. But if we are examples of anything, not saying we are perfect, we are two flawed individuals, but we know how to behave when we go to shows. Fans are an essential part of this, but do not cross the line. And if you do,
yes,
the talent should put you in your place. Shout out to her. I wish you remembered her name as well, but AWF Aftershock going down this weekend. Go Fallen Gray. We love Brittany Brooks, but Fallen Gray number one. This is the Fallen Gray podcast.
You tased me there. I said Fallen Gray about 9 times, and I'm like,
did I say
okay.
No. Fallen.
I think you said Fallyn. You turned it into a.
I channeled my inner Brittany Brooks from
you sure did
2 years ago. That's
I remember that. I remember the promo after that too. Yeah, it was pretty great. Yes, Fallen Gray. Oliver Wendell Holmes, Jr. The right to swing my fist ends where the other man's nose begins. I've always liked that quote. I always thought it was another man's personal space ends where the nose begins, whatever it was. In any case, I think about that a lot when I'm at these shows and I hear the stuff like that. I do think we talked about this before. There's a direct correlation with the pricing of your seats and what vile things are being yelled. The higher the price, the less likely you are to hear awful stuff. And the cheaper tickets are filled with booze and awful, awful men.
The peasants, yeah.
Yeah, the plebes are up there shouting out whatever their heart's desire is, and it's really freaking gross. I just get very protective. I feel like a full dad mode there, and I'm about to go full dad mode again. It's time for us someday when you have kids. Play the music.
And now it's time for
Someday.
Someday when you have kids.
Someday I can have kids.
Okay, Tyler. Spring break is over, and I'm sad. I doubt Freya's very sad, but I have 2 things that happened that were hilarious. I did not prep you on this. And in fact, this part, I was like, what do I talk about? Because I had time off on my mind. But I forgot. Freya's been stressing about standardized tests. There was a day a couple weeks ago, she came home and she was like feeling anxious and stuff. And then later on, she was crying, sobbing, because she was so afraid of these standardized tests. I remember texting Jen Davis because it was late. I was dying, very stressed about the show, and I said some things because I was so mad that they put so much pressure on an 8-year-old to perform on a test, which she already has anxiety about everything, but test anxiety, performance anxiety, I felt really bad about. So she's been stressing about this test, and a part of time off was like, hey, I got to go to the store. You want to come with me? Yes, I do. Let's go. Jess was surprised. She was in a meeting, and we were leaving. She's like, Freya's coming with you? I was like, yeah. Okay. She did it like that, and I was like, you do know we're related to each other, right? Like, it's going to be okay. She's like, she's a lot at the store. I was like, yeah. But I don't go look at everything. She's not going to have time. It's going to be, here's the plan of attack. I'm dude shopping. I'm not going around milling around. I'm not going there to pit her.
It's a different experience with Dad.
Yeah, I have 4 things to get. We're going to get those 4 things. I'm going to ask her if she needs anything. And then we're effing off to the checkout line. Like, we were out of there in 20 minutes. So, like, it was not like a long process of going to the store. I just needed to get some heavy cream. That's all I needed. So anyway, and some Kerrygold butter. And I remember what day it was. We both wore green and headed out for St. Patrick's Day and got some. Of course, I got Irish butter on St. Patty's Day. Anyway, we're over by the butter. We're over by the cream. And we're looking at the butter. And she's like, what's the difference? And I was like, this stuff has more fat. 80%, 85% milk fat compared to our butter, which is in the 70s. Did a lot of looking up to try to find a way to make this recipe. She looked at me and she was like, well, I got to test when we get back. And she goes, when we get back, we have to take the ASS test. I was like, I looked right in her eyes and went, are you telling me you have to take an ass test when you get back? Said it just like that, over by the milk, to my 8-year-old daughter. And she goes, no, ASS test. And it's like, ass. You're spelling ass. You're taking an ass test? You're 8 years old, you're going to school, and you're going to tell people, yeah, I got my ass test today. My ASS test. I don't think that's what it's called. I'm pretty sure that's not. She's like, ASR? You got an ASRS test on Monday? You do state retirement testing?
Arizona
what are
State
they doing
System.
at this school? They got ass tests.
They're preparing her
tests.
early. That's what they're
Yeah,
doing.
they're like, you're gonna be 45 before you know it. We better get your colonoscopy prepped and start talking about retirement.
Keep an eye on it.
Just absolutely crazy. I don't know what test she has coming up, Tyler. I don't have a clue. I know that it's like this week or the following week, but she is testing something. I'm hoping that it's the AIMS or some other acronym for younger kids. I know it's not an ass test. I know it's not a state. Well, it probably, for her, it might be experienced the same way. Those tests are pretty miserable. And I just hope she does a great job. The other thing I wanted to bring up is flat tires. So when you have kids, this is in general, just make the appointment. Don't go to Discount Tire. Make the appointment and then go. I rolled up and I had a dude walking out to my car going, are you the 945? Yes, sir, I am. Cool, everything's paid for. I just got to go through and check a few things and log a few things on your odometer and all that. Cool, you're all set. You're going to be over in this bay. When that car gets out of there, we'll have you in there. It was 9:48 at this point. And he looked at me and goes, should be done around 10:15, 10:20. All right, I'm going to go over to Harbor Freight. I love that place. Get some gloves, some disposable gloves. We ran out, use them in the kitchen all the time. And they're the cheapest there. $7 for a 100-pack. Definitely worth it. Are they food safe? I don't know. I don't care. They're not medical safe. And we walked out of there with the gloves and maybe a few other things I can't remember. And walked back in and the car was ready. And Freya was ready to go. It was perfect. So if you have kids, do the appointment. Just do the appointment. I promise you showing up is a bad move. Do the appointment. Tyler, I hope you get to experience the ass tests. I hope you get to experience the joy of setting the appointment someday when you have kids.
When you added someday to our agenda, of course, I was filled with excitement and anticipation. I had no idea where you were going to take this one. This is This is an instant classic. Ass tests and discount appointments. Noted and noted. Check and check. I got you.
Man, I just I'm sad break's over because I'm probably going to be missing out on some of these gems, but I'm excited to see what else she comes home with soon because I don't know how she's going to outdo that. But we have to get into all kinds of things that people are trying to outdo: creative, injuries, the future, pay-per-views. AEW's got a lot going on. Let's get into it.
Yeah, they sure do. I'm going to get right into my question, actually. According to a Fightful Select report, timeless Toni Storm was written off AEW TV for likely the rest of 2026. Now, details are pretty sparse. This seems to be a health move. And come to think of it, timeless Toni Storm, much like a Stephanie Valkyrie in WWE, has been putting in work over the last 12 months. My question for you, Brad, what did you think upon hearing this news? And which member of the women's roster do you predict is most likely to step up and fill that huge void in Storm's absence?
Okay, it's a great question by you. I was devastated. She's just the best character 2 years running on this podcast. Character
In wrestling.
Gimmick of the year. Yeah.
Yep.
Just in all of wrestling, she is far and away. I don't think it's nobody's close.
No.
Because like character-wise, gimmick-wise, who's got a better one? Who's got a stronger one right now? Maybe Danhausen, but Danhausen isn't also in the ring putting in the Lord's work. I think Danhausen might have a shot at gimmick of the year this year because it's been great so far how they've booked him and how he's committed, but he's not going to have the overall wrestler gimmick, all of it. Toni Storm is the entire package. She is, once she found that character, I imagine WWE right now is going, damn, we really screwed this one up. Oh, but she wouldn't have been able to be that over at WWE.
Right.
They're not going to be like, I'm going to rip your tits off on USA. Like, that's just PG. Like, that's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. But the merchandise, the action
Oh
figures,
my gosh. Can you imagine the black
production,
and white stuffed dolls? Can you imagine?
It's tremendous. It's one of the greatest characters that I've seen since I've started watching wrestling.
So to answer your question, I'm hoping that it's the character that I saw take a picture at Disney, whose arms are looking jacked and looks like they're in good shape, and looks like their baby isn't very much of a baby anymore because she has real long hair and is sitting up and stuff. I'm hoping that very soon we hear some music play and it's just Destination Unknown. We need some Ruby Soho back. I would love to see Ruby Soho fill a void in the women's locker room right now where there isn't really a void. If not, I'm going to go with Jamie. I would love to see it be Jamie Hayter. Right now she's doing stuff, so I don't think it's going to be Jamie. I don't know what singles wrestler right now that's sort of free from obligation to step up and be that thing. I don't think it can be Chris. I just, without a character shift, because she's shifting around too much already right now, and I don't really know.
We don't know who her character is.
No, I miss the heel Statlander character more than I think I missed, or that I liked her old babyface character. That heel Stat was awesome. Like, she was just a killer. Give me that back. I don't know who it is. I don't think it's like Tekla's doing great, but it's not the same. I don't know what character they have that could step into that role. My hope, I'll end on this, it's Ruby Soho or Athena. I feel like Athena is a no-brainer. Call her up, get her out of ROH. I know it might be the reason people watch ROH at this point is because Athena's on their TV, but like, get her out of there and put her on the roster. My God, what are we doing? Like, she needs to be there already anyway. And I think she could elevate that division immediately. But we also know we're getting Mercedes back. So there's so many viable options. And I didn't even mention Willow that I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Willow's still involved in a storyline. Mercedes is, I don't really know if she's free to do anything big and new and different that Toni was doing. I don't know who's free. And that's the problem. And I think Athena and Ruby, we know they're free because Athena being called up would make sense. She's free immediately. and Ruby coming back, she's free immediately. And maybe she goes and tries to figure out what happened to Toni Storm, because I think were they still beefing toward the end there? I can't remember, because they were partners and then they turned and then she became timeless and then it was a thing and it was very confusing.
Right. Yeah, it has been confusing. And I wonder I mean, obviously she's had this beef with Marina Shafir and the Death Riders, Toni Storm, that is, and the Mina Shirakawa element of this, because I thought we were heading toward a tag team grudge match of timeless love bombs versus Marina Shafir and possibly Ronda Rousey. It seems like that's not the direction, but no, that's, to answer your question, yes, that was intact leading up to where we're at now.
Who was Dan, the MMA guy. Why can't I think of his last name?
Dan, the manager?
Yeah.
The guy who used to be with Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Was it Lambert? I can't remember. Lambert sounds wrong.
I see the face, I can hear the voice, but the name is escaping me.
Man,
it may be Dan Lambert. You may have that right.
I have to look it up. I
could hear our audience typing in the comments.
It was Dan Lambert. Okay.
Dan Lambert, you called it. Good memory.
American Top Team. Maybe they call American Top Team and have somebody jump in with Mina to pair up, or I don't know. They go out and get somebody from New Japan or Stardom to pair up with. So I don't remember if she's Stardom or Total Joshi Pro, but like Starlight Kid would be a great pick. Or there's a bunch of great wrestlers over there right now. Women's wrestling is so good in Japan. My God, like you just throw a dart and hit an all timer just in the ring over there. So it's wild.
Can I interest you in a Britt Baker return?
You can always interest me in a Britt Baker. Britt Baker was yes.
Characters who have done great things in AEW. Is this the time for Britt Baker to return?
I don't know what her health status is. I don't know what her situation is. I don't know if this is like a Danhausen, Ricky Starks, we're just not working until the contract's over situation. Jericho's in the same boat. He's on the roster. He's not free. Shout out to the truck that drove by.
That might be Britt Baker on her way to wherever Dynamite is.
We mentioned it, and she's just like, I'm out of here.
When I'm cutting you off now, but I think about Toni Storm and the heights that character's had in AEW for the first 3 or so years. That was Dr. Britt Baker. I mean, she was doing awesome character work. The entrance, the pop, the Brit pop. I wonder if this is that opportunity to reclaim that, or if we've seen the end of Brit in AEW.
I hope not, because Thunder Rosa had that too, and then she got injured, and she just hasn't had the same, I don't know, mystique aura.
That was the best feud in the women's division for the first several years.
That was the best feud in women's wrestling during that time.
One of the best feuds in wrestling, period.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily. I mean, it was a glass ceiling breaking match that those two had. Absolutely. That changed the course of women's wrestling, I think. And I think it was either that year or the year after that we had Sasha and Bianca. Like, it was a great year in women's wrestling. It's not like it was the best feud. Sasha Bianca was the best moment, or one of the best moments. But I mean, Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker. Well, I don't know what else to say. Daly's Place legends. Tyler, okay, my question is pretty simple. Will is back. God bless the Billy Goat. A lot of OGs are back in the men's division. Okay, Tyler, how do you feel about the current creative in AEW in the men's division? Especially knowing that Hangman's probably going to be gone for a while.
Mm-hmm. It's strong right now. I have lots of questions about... Well, I don't necessarily have a lot of questions heading into Dynasty. I think some of the main matches, you can see the directions where they're headed, I should say. Obviously on Dynamite, we got to confirm that it's going to be Cope and Cage versus FTR. I wonder if the Young Bucks, if that's going to turn into a 3-way match at some point. I suppose we'll see in the weeks to come. But we have that tag team match set, and this Dynasty is going to be in Canada, so that makes all the sense. For the main title, for MJF's Triple B, I do have a question about that, although we're getting Swerve versus Omega 2 this week on Dynamite. I believe Kenny's got to win that, and we're getting Kenny versus MJF at Dynasty. So the seeds have been planted for those main men's matches at Dynasty coming up here on, I think it's April 12th, just in a few weeks. Beyond that, heading into Double or Nothing, and then certainly heading into All In, I have questions. I'm satisfied with the storylines right now. I think the direction for this summer is clear. Hangman is a big question mark for me, but the mission that is Will Ospreay becoming champ, to me, there's no way that doesn't happen at all in London. I can see the smile on your face. That makes you happy. That makes me very happy as well. It's his time. I don't know why we need potentially a title feud with Mox for Ospreay. I'm really curious to see how that shakes out. That has to be a dynasty match, but I don't have any interest in Will Ospreay becoming Continental Champion. The man needs to be the world champion, and it must happen by late summer, early fall at the latest. I think we can pencil that in, that must occur. So there's a lot that's going well right now. Again, like you pointed out, Brad, Hangman is a question mark. I think Fightful Select reports have been that he's expected to take some time off. That makes all the sense. Where does Swerve go after potentially losing to Kenny Omega this week? I got my eye on that. Andrade popped up on Dynamite. He has some momentum. What is next for him? Does he enter, say, the TNT title picture or another mid-card championship? There are wrestlers who have been built to start 2026, Andrade, Swerve, etc. And I'm really hopeful that that's going to lead to some really great storylines in the months to come. So there are some storylines that are working better for me than others right now. But in terms of the title picture, there's a lot that's going right for the company right now. And if we're going to get MJF versus Kenny Omega for the world title at the next pay-per-view,
yes, please.
Tony Khan already has my $44, including tax.
Yep.
So they're doing something right for me.
I think that would make sense. Then we get Kenny versus Will for the title. I mean, they put on some all-timers at Wrestle Kingdom, and we saw them at, was it Forbidden Door, I think, when they did their second one.
Yeah, I think that might have been,
or All In. I can't remember.
Gosh, yeah, the years
might have been
and
All
the
In
events
London, actually. I can't remember.
Are a little blurry for me.
It was when he was aligned with the Don Callis family. And
Screwdriver Jones, heel Will Ospreay.
Yep.
Gosh, yeah, we've seen a lot in the last couple of years with the company.
So I think you brought up something. I think it's in a good place right now. Andrade going after the national championship and wrestling Jack Perry would be a lot of fun. I think they could have a fun match. Samoa Joe wrapped filming on his projects, so he could be coming back soon. And that's the one where I'm like, ooh, where do you slot him in? Are we doing ops stuff still? Like, is that a thing? I have no idea what's going on there.
I forgot the ops are still in existence.
I don't know if they are. Isn't Shibata also injured? I can't remember.
I thought he's healthy. I know Hook is the leader of that group now, which love that for him, but the cachet level of the ops has gone down precipitously in the last few months. And to your point, I would attribute a lot of that not only to Powerhouse Hobbs leaving for WWE, but also when Samoa Joe is gone, of course, it's not going to be hitting literally and figuratively. It's not going to hit the same way when Joe is out.
Yeah, I'm trying to find right now if he's, let's see. Yeah, it sounds like he's just, they're just out.
Samoa Joe versus Jack Perry would be a fun program.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
Jack Perry would have to lose that, but
it'd be murdered, but it would be awesome.
What do you think about Darby Allin's booking right now? Because he defeated Gabe Kidd, which shocked me. I thought Gabe Kidd was going to put this man in a coffin. The bell rings, and he will effectively get a get back for the dogs from their loss at Revolution, which was also questionable. The Darby Allin, element of this is also really intriguing to me because there was a time, Brad, about a year ago, where you and I had him as a dark horse candidate to dethrone Jon Moxley to become AEW Men's World Champion. I don't know. We don't have those conversations as frequently, but I don't know that Darby is too far out of that conversation. He picks up big wins. It seems like he's successful in most of his his rivalries on TV and at pay-per-views. He's clearly protected in a lot of ways. You remember I got upset last year when he beat Pac and some other things that went down. But I'm also interested to see what's next for Darby, because he's crept around that world title conversation. I wonder, maybe not this year, but I wonder if we're again planting those seeds for Darby, not just becoming maybe a continental champion. Maybe he's the guy to dethrone Mox, but maybe Darby is being positioned at some point to finally ascend that mountain, pun intended, that AEW mountain of becoming world champ. It seemed like last year that's where we were headed. It didn't happen. I wonder if we're going to pivot back to that at some point, because he beat Gabe Kidd, and the man is indestructible. He doesn't matter what you do to him, he survives, and he usually ends up winning at the end of it.
It's a good point. It's a good point. He reminds
I know
me,
it's a divisive subject in the
his character, but his character, you know what it reminds me of? Another divisive subject. The Giant Killer. Do you remember who the Giant Killer was in WCW? Do you know?
Is that Rey Mysterio?
Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
Like you can have a little guy be booked to beat big guys and overcome all the odds. And that's Darby, right? Like Darby is, I'm going to overcome all the odds. I'm smaller than everybody here. Watch me turn into a human effing piss missile and launch myself through the ropes at 800 miles an hour. Like it just doesn't make any sense what this person's able to do. And to
he's over though. We've seen it.
Yeah.
We've seen it several times
100%.
live. He's one of the most over acts on the roster. I know he has some Arizona connections, so maybe that's part of it, but people just really, they go crazy for Darby. Like similar they did for Rey Mysterio in WCW, to your point. He presents something different.
Well, speaking of going crazy, Tyler. I'm going to leave it at that. I did not watch the video clip. I didn't want to. And I only read what it said. And it's as far as I got. But we got to get into it. It's as I hit the mic. Let's play the music. What happened here? The Bachelorette edition.
What happened here?
I've been waiting nearly an hour for us to discuss this. Mind you, granted, I've thoroughly enjoyed the wrestling chats that we've had. I thoroughly enjoyed Someday When You Have Kids. I made this very clear earlier. But Brad, we know what the people have tuned in to this episode for. What happened here? ABC canceled season 22 of The Bachelorette. Well, it's not happening. After all, news broke on Wednesday that the TV giant would not air Taylor Frankie Paul's season at this time, after footage of a 2023 domestic violence incident became accessible on social media, flooded many timelines. Now, Brad, in the video released by TMZ, Taylor Frankie Paul is seen hitting her then partner and throwing a series of barstool chairs at him. I don't know any of the lore with this guy, Dakota, and the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. That's not necessarily my bag. I know that's shocking, but I've listened enough to know that they have been on again, off again, and clearly just been very toxic in each other's lives, on screen and off screen, for several years at this point. Now, during this video, during the series of barstool chairs that Taylor Frankie Paul threw at her on again, off again partner, Dakota, one throw even resulted in an injury to Paul's young daughter in the clip, and that was perhaps the most disturbing part of all this. The domestic violence in itself is unacceptable and disturbing, period. And then also what really, I think, shook the audience and what led me to believe, okay, there's no way they're airing this season, is when there was the element of her young daughter getting injured in this video. It's not a good look. This is arguably the worst moment in the franchise's 20 plus year history,
which is saying something.
It sure is. We have had this podcast, as you pointed out, for several years now, and we have litigated the shortcomings of this franchise, its producers, and the network several times over. Brad, I really believe there's a case that this is the worst moment in the history of Batch. We have been through some rough Golden Bachelor seasons. We've been through some rough Bachelorette and Bachelor seasons as of late. I have so many questions about the production of Batch. I have so many questions about ABC and Hulu and how they thought they were going to be able to just skate through this season. That is not the case at all. They are culpable in how all this played out, in my opinion. I've even seen some thought or some rumors of potential cast members from Taylor Frankie Paul season potentially pursuing litigation against ABC because they took time off from their fake jobs to be on the season, but they're not gonna.
Sorry, great shot. That was a great parting shot. Yeah.
Sorry, Mike. Brand protection manager. I still don't know what that is, but regardless, some of them potentially are pursuing litigation because their season is just simply not going to air.
Maybe he's the one that's doing it.
Here,
protect the brand.
Maybe. Here is where I want to leave this and where I want to kick it to you. This really startled Bachelor Nation to such a degree that there were even questions throughout social media I noticed asking about the future of this franchise. You and I have even addressed some of these questions when past seasons have been lackluster at best, super problematic at worst. I wonder, and the timeline from what I saw over the last 72 hours wonders, is this the end of the Bachelorette franchise now that we live in a TV era where Batch has more competition than ever from Netflix, even shows on Hulu? There are a lot of other dating show options that feel more current, that are more interesting, and somehow less problematic than where we're at with this franchise. I do not think this is it for the Bachelorette. I suspect they'll take a year off, they'll rebrand, and I hope that absence makes the heart grow fonder. But my goodness, my friend, these 72 hours plus in Batch Nation have been unlike anything I've experienced since following the show several years ago. What do you make of the storm that occurred last week?
Okay, I'll give you some perspective. If I were working on, let's say, I don't know, the Lightning Thief musical, and we did all of the work, and we did all of the planning, we did all of the prep, and then we find out we're going to open. One of our actors is a piece of crap. We can't go. It's a different cast, because I don't want to take out poor Jackson here. But Percy Jackson, our Percy Jackson, is a vile human being, and we don't have an understudy. Well, that's the show. That's it. The end. It either has to get delayed, which you can't do because you paid for the rights. The rights only exist during that time slot, so you have to repurchase the rights. ABC has a choice to disappoint all the advertisers, to pay all of them back, take a giant loss, but prevent future losses for those advertisers who may have been the ones to pull the show. Because the second that you have an abuser on your show, brought to you by a Kroger Foods or something, like the second something like that happens, you're now sponsoring an abuser, and you have an obligation to pull that. From my perspective, if somebody pulled my show, I'd be fuming. I'd be furious. I'd be more angry. Different story here, but I'd be more angry at the actor than anybody else. But I would be really upset should that happen. I don't know what's going to happen with the people that signed off on doing a show and putting their lives on hold to go do this show. They're going to sue and all of that, but there's no guarantee that the content that ABC owns is going to be put out there. They don't have to. They can do whatever they want with it. They can film it and go, this is trash. And that's it, So I don't really know how to feel about it because I don't care about the show at all. However, I do think that ABC, who is already, I don't want to say they're struggling. All the legacy networks are struggling right now because of all like the Nexstar merger and the FCC in general, and
they were dealing with the Jimmy Kimmel
right exactly
versus the White House saga. To your point about the FCC, they've had and the ESPN of it all. ABC, the Walt Disney Company, has had a pretty tumultuous 10 to 12 months.
Yeah, they sure have.
And now this scandal within one of their most valuable properties.
Yep. Well, I mean, what do you do for the future to answer that question? I don't know. I don't know that you can do anything because they're so bad at vetting these people, like so bad at it.
We've talked about this time and time again.
Exactly.
Where are you finding these schmucks? But in this case, the bet was, and this, this domestic violence incident, this was all in writing. ABC, Hulu, they knew about this. This was a part of the branding for several seasons of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Again, this incident happened in 2023, but the powers that be within the network just bet on, no, we're going to roll with this. Taylor Frankie Paul has name ID. We'll just hope the video doesn't get out. Let's send Taylor Frankie Paul to NBA All-Star Weekend. Let's have her pop up on Good Morning America the week heading into the Sunday premiere. And then the video drops, and it is a Ray Rice-esque moment of when millions of people can see the video of the incident. That changes things for ABC, for Hulu to not have the wherewithal, and instead to be greedy, to just focus on name ID and potential views, and like you said, Brad, securing sponsors. This really backfired on them in a significant way. Taylor Frankie Paul clearly in love with this guy. He apparently is not a great person either. The behavior is inexcusable. And they just thought, let's lean into having a bona fide celebrity be our lead. Let's get some magic back. Let's get some views back, and everything's going to be okay. And it turns out it wasn't so much that this isn't even a rose with Brad and Tyler. This is so bad. We had to put it in what happened here. What a terrible situation for all involved. And my goodness, for her daughter. I mean, the video, I did watch the video, and it was horrifying. There was no way ABC could move forward with airing the season. There was no way after that video came out. It reminded me of the Ray Rice incident from years ago, and that was a game changer for the NFL. One could argue, has the NFL learned from that? I would hope. But you remember when that came out. I mean, it was just it was jarring, and this has been the same feeling for me. Yeah,
that's why I didn't watch it. I can't. I just thought I'm too sensitive to that stuff now. Like kids being involved, I just can't do it. I think they made the right move. It's just this is an NBA hoops card with Mark Jackson on it, and in the front row of that game, the Menendez brothers sitting and watching courtside. Like you have to look at it and go, how do we? That's not good. That's bad. And like that card, either somebody got away with it because they were like, hey, check it out. And that's what happened, or something else happened. Companies need to have a better vetting process. And ABC is, at least they pulled this, but they are absolutely complicit in allowing these nefarious individuals. And there is something about it. Like if you are, I'm not throwing shade at you. You applied to be on The Bachelor, or a Bachelorette. I can't remember which one. Was it to be The Bachelor?
No, that's a lot of pressure. Bachelorette.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
So but that's what I was going to say, is to be The Bachelor or The Bachelorette and apply for those spots, not to be a contestant on the show, but to be those people. There's a certain level of narcissism you have to have, and usually if you are that level of narcissistic, it's going to come along with some pretty terrible stuff. And all the terrible stuff that it came along with are these things. You get your, like, the Risa, the only one that we respect, lives right next to you. And we got that one. We got, I don't know. It just seems like every season there's like, oh, did you hear about this? Like every one of them.
And I think the turning point, I mean, Batch has been problematic for a long time now, but the turning point really seemed to be when they dipped their toes in the water of having the first Black Bachelorette, the Matt James season, and all of the fallout from there. Chris Harrison gets the boot. They have this whole race relations forum within the season. I mean, it was just handled terribly. And then fast forward to Jen Tran's season, the first Asian American woman, and how poorly they fumbled that. Look at the catalog. We documented it thoroughly, I would say, dare I say. We've spoken about this, Brad. And then you move into Golden Badge, and it's so
Curry.
It's a breath of fresh air. It seems so genuine. It's what we need. And how even that property has been fumbled. It seems we were heading to this place it was inevitable that we would reach a situation where we would end up in a situation where we're at now, where we have questions about the future of this franchise, not just from a will people watch, but from a is ABC going to continue this because they fumbled it so badly and because the brand looks so poor. I think there were a lot of signs pointing to we would end up in a predicament where we would be having this conversation on the podcast. But my goodness, it's to me, it's from the ABC standpoint, it is a warning sign of corporate greed and how you're just willing to look the other way and hope for the best. And here's what happens when you do that. I just think it's a case of greed, man, and it's really, really unfortunate. What are we gonna do for the podcast? We had the next 8 to 10 weeks planned. We were gonna have a Rose segment, and now we don't, and that's unfortunate. But I'm sure we'll rebound from it. I hope Mo, the Mojo King, is happy. Those are our thoughts on the cancellation of season 22 of The Bachelorette. We'll see what's in store for ABC and the Bachelor property moving forward. I think they'll be back, but that is certainly not a guarantee.
We'll figure it out. I know we will. Hopefully there's some big wrestling events coming up between now and April.
There might be.
Tyler, what did we miss?
What did we miss? Okay, my goodness. First, speaking of reckonings happening, the reckoning of civil rights icon Cesar Chavez. Brad, I know you saw this headline as well. The same week as the fallout of The Bachelorette, the New York Times released their results from a 5-year investigation into Chavez, and they uncovered years of alleged abuse, harassment against young women and girls, and it has completely shaken the country, I would say, to its core. And a lot of people I know, Cesar Chavez has his footprints, of course, all over this country, particularly in California, particularly in Arizona. The work that he and Dolores Huerta and many others did for the United Farm Workers Association, and still to this day, his footprint is everywhere. There's a high school in the Valley named after him. There are buildings named after him. There's a national holiday to recognize his achievements at the end of the month. And all of that is in question moving forward. I think we're going to see a lot of parks change names, a lot of schools change names. And most importantly, let's not bury the lead here, just recognizing all of the pain that these women have had to endure for years and decades of not sharing this abuse, of keeping it under wraps. And here we are now, knowing this information and reckoning with what has now become a very complicated legacy. I am eager to see where we move forward. I'm eager to see for the parks and the schools, how do they pivot from this? But my goodness, I would be remiss if we didn't mention and recognize the pain that allegedly, apparently, several women and girls have had to deal with over the years at the hands of someone who we propped up as a deity, who was seen as a godlike figure in the flesh. And this is another warning sign of that celebrity worship that is an inherent part of the American culture.
Yep.
Maybe that should become a thing of the past.
His statue at the intersection of 5 Points is vandalized in Tucson. I hadn't seen this until just now. I was checking to see if there were any updates. And yeah, man, like red paint all over the top down. It's a literal statue in the center of a busy spot in town, in a not small area that is going to prop up any kind of, like, they're proud of their culture and Latino heritage, especially a hero like this, to find out that you should never meet your heroes. Shout out to Jabari. This is one of those times where it's, you know, like you said, it's hero worship. It's, I don't know. I can't think of a time where it's ever really resulted in people going like, yep, we were right. Well, maybe one. I could think of one.
You said it well, my friend. There's a building at the University of Arizona named after him. It's where the Mexican American Studies Department is housed. I remember taking Spanish in that building. I had several classes in Chavez, and gosh, I'm still processing that. I'll end with a wrestling note here. TNA's latest TNA Plus live special goes down in Louisiana on Friday. Here are my TNA Sacrifice predictions. I say Mike Santana defeats Steve Macklin. Ariana Grace defeats Lei Ying Lee and Danny Luna. And Leon Slater also retains over Eric Young. I think these champs are walking into Louisiana with gold and are going to leave with their titles. I am particularly excited for Elena Black versus Mara Sade, and Mustafa Ali and Tasha Steeles versus Trey Miguel and Jada Stone. I got shot. Should be really fun. I got Sade over Black and Ali and Steeles over Miguel and Stone. Oh, and then finally, I forgot. We're going to get a WNBA season on time. The Players Association and the league reached
that was shocking to me.
A new collective bargaining agreement. I was wrong. I was quite concerned that there was going to be a delay in the season if there was going to be a season. Luckily, my fears are now gone, and we will get a WNBA season on time in May. I am very excited. What did we miss?
Man, we missed a lot of things. I was trying to see what the actual Supermax for the NBA is. Let's see. Notable players of Supermax. Okay, Jaylen Brown, 5-year, $304 million. I don't know what that breaks down to per year, but I know the Supermax contracts that they were offering in WNBA are talking about. I can't even remember who it was for. I just saw somebody was potentially offered a Supermax or going to be at $1.5 million. And that's a Supermax is insane disparity. Almost $500 million, 1.5 million, to be clear. Anyway, on that note, I'm just glad that there'll be a season because the WNBA is awesome. Also, shout out to Unrivaled. The deaths, man, we had quite a few. The notable ones: Chuck Norris died. Nicholas Brendan died. That one cut deep. That was a childhood blow for me. He played Xander Harris on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and then Dennis Condrey of the Midnight Express is also gone. The lover boy passed away this week. Very sad. These older wrestlers, just, I mean, what does their health look like? They went through years of having to maintain kayfabe and not having the kind of, physical health available to them, and not knowing what we know now about how to take care of a body and basically load management, right? They were just, watch out, don't fill your bump card, pal. And that was kind of it as their knees explode all around us. Cade Cunningham, Tyler, I'm so sad. Pistons pulled off a couple of wins, but Cade being out with a freaking collapsed lung by taking a Meteora on the court. It's just what a dumb way to go down. And I just hope you can recover fully from that, because it's not a joke. It's not necessarily life-threatening, but it certainly is as close as you can get without death being imminent. And the rest we covered. The other shout-out was just to Fallyn Gray.
There was a lot to cover on this episode. I think we covered most, if not all of it. I'm proud of us. We did. That was a memorable episode. There
was a lot this week. I don't understand, because I feel like we just recorded and we had a week off.
Yeah, we should.
And somehow it was packed.
This was an eventful spring break. Of course, as always, we want to know what you think about these latest pop culture and pro wrestling headlines. You can leave us a comment here on YouTube. We would love that. We would be sure to give you a shout out on our next pod. Or you can follow us and join the conversation across the social spaces. We are at GIPod19. You can also follow us there for exclusive show updates and more. Thank you for tuning into this episode, and we will see you next time. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.